I will never marry a poor man. Poor men don't deserve a beautiful lady like me.
Those were the words that Lisa spoke with fire in her eyes. She was beautiful, bold, and very sure of herself. But years later, those same words would haunt her every single night. She would cry alone in her big empty mansion, wishing she could go back in time. Wishing she had listened to her gentle sister, Maria. Wishing she had chosen differently. But it was too late. This is the story of two sisters. One chose gold. One chose love. And only one of them found true happiness. Lisa and Maria were sisters who grew up in a small, simple house. Their parents were not rich, but they were kind and hardworking. They taught their daughters to be grateful, honest, and humble. But the two sisters grew up to be very different from each other. Maria was the older sister. She had a gentle smile and a soft voice. She helped her mother cook dinner every evening. She sang while washing dishes. She never complained about their simple life. When her father came home tired from work, Maria would bring him water and ask about his day. She found joy in small things like flowers blooming in their garden or birds singing in the morning. Maria believed that happiness came from a peaceful heart, not from a heavy wallet. But Lisa was different. Very different. She was younger, prettier, and always wanted more. When she was a teenager, Lisa would stand in front of the mirror for hours. She would practice her smile and flip her long, shiny hair. She read fashion magazines and dreamed of wearing expensive dresses. She looked at their small house with angry eyes. "Why do we have to live like this?" she would say. "Other girls have big houses and nice cars. Why can't we?" Their mother would gently say, "We have each other, my dear. We have love. That is worth more than gold." But Lisa would roll her eyes and walk away. She did not want to hear about love. She wanted money. She wanted a big house. She wanted everyone to look at her with jealous eyes. And she made a promise to herself, "I will only marry a rich man. A very, very rich man." When the two sisters became young women, many men came to ask for their hands in marriage. Maria was 25 years old, and Lisa was 22. They were both beautiful, but in different ways. Maria's beauty was quiet and warm, like candlelight. Lisa's beauty was bright and sharp, like a diamond. One day, a kind young man named David came to visit their home. He was a teacher at the local school. He was not rich, but he had an honest face and gentle eyes. He brought flowers for their mother and spoke respectfully to their father. When he saw Maria helping her mother in the kitchen, his face lit up with admiration. After dinner, David asked if he could speak with Maria alone in the garden. Under the stars, David held Maria's hand softly. "Maria," he said with emotion in his voice, "I am not a wealthy man. I cannot give you a mansion or expensive jewelry. But I can promise you something more valuable. I will love you with all my heart. I will respect you every single day. I will work hard to make you happy. Will you marry me?" Maria's eyes filled with happy tears. She looked at David's sincere face and felt peace in her heart. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I will marry you." She did not care that David was not rich. She saw his good heart. She felt his true love. And that was enough for her. Lisa watched all of this from the window, and her face twisted with disgust. "How foolish," she whispered to herself. "Maria is so stupid. She is throwing her life away for a poor teacher. Well, I am smarter than her. I will never make that mistake. I will wait for a truly rich man, no matter how long it takes." Not long after Maria's engagement, another man came to their house. His name was James, and he was a hard-working mechanic. He fixed cars and worked with his hands. His clothes always had a little bit of oil on them, but his smile was warm and real. James had noticed Lisa at the market many times. He thought she was the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. Finally, he gathered his courage and came to ask for her hand in marriage. Lisa's father invited James inside. James sat nervously on their old couch. He twisted his cap in his hands and spoke with a trembling voice. "Sir," he said to Lisa's father, "I know I am just a simple mechanic. But I am honest and hardworking. I have saved some money. I have a small house. It is not fancy, but it is clean and strong. I promise I will take good care of your daughter. I will work day and night to make her happy. Lisa's father looked at James with kind eyes. He could see that James was a good man. But before he could speak, Lisa stood up suddenly. Her face was filled with anger and disgust. She pointed at James like he was something dirty. You, Lisa said with a cold, cruel laugh. You think I would marry you? A mechanic. Look at your clothes. Look at your hands. They are dirty with oil. Do you think I want to live in a small house and struggle every day? No. I will never marry a poor man. Never. I deserve better than this. I deserve a rich man with a big house and expensive cars. You should leave now. You are wasting my time. The room became silent. James's face turned red with shame. Maria gasped and covered her mouth. Their mother's eyes filled with sad tears. Their father looked disappointed. But Lisa did not care. She lifted her chin proudly and walked out of the room, her high heels clicking loudly on the floor. James left their house with his head down, his heart broken into pieces. That night, Maria went to Lisa's room. Lisa, Maria said softly, why were you so cruel to James? He is a good man. He would have made you happy. Lisa was brushing her long hair in the mirror. She did not even look at her sister. You don't understand, Maria, Lisa said coldly. You settled for a poor teacher because you have no ambition. But I am different. I will marry a rich man, and I will live in luxury. You will see. One day you will be jealous of me. Maria's heart felt heavy with sadness, but she said nothing more. She quietly left the room, praying that her sister would change her heart. 2 years passed. Maria married David in a simple, beautiful ceremony. They could not afford a big wedding, but their home was filled with laughter and love. They lived in a small house near the school where David taught. Maria grew flowers in their little garden. Every evening, David would come home and kiss her forehead. They did not have much money, but they had peace. They had joy. They had each other. Lisa watched Maria's simple life with bitter eyes. Look at her, Lisa would say to her friends. Living in that tiny house, cooking every day, wearing the same old dresses. I could never live like that. I am meant for something greater. And Lisa continued to wait. She rejected every man who was not wealthy enough. She rejected doctors, engineers, and business owners because they were not rich enough for her taste. Her parents begged her to be reasonable, but Lisa refused to listen. Then one day, Lisa's dream finally came true. A man named Richard came to town. He was 45 years old, much older than Lisa's 24 years. But Richard was very, very rich. He owned 3 large companies. He had a huge mansion with 12 bedrooms. He drove expensive sports cars. He wore suits that cost more than most people's monthly salary. He wore gold watches and diamond rings. When Richard saw Lisa at a fancy restaurant, he was stunned by her beauty. He walked straight to her table. You are the most beautiful woman I have ever seen, Richard said with a charming smile. What is your name? Lisa's heart began to race with excitement. Finally, her dream was coming true. Richard courted Lisa with expensive gifts. He took her to the finest restaurants. He bought her designer dresses and diamond jewelry. He flew her to Paris for the weekend. Lisa felt like a princess in a fairy tale. Everyone in town watched with amazed eyes. Lisa's friends were green with jealousy. And Lisa loved every second of it. See, Lisa said to Maria one day, showing off her new diamond bracelet. See what happens when you aim high. You married a poor teacher, but I am marrying a millionaire. My life will be perfect. I will have everything I ever wanted. Maria looked at her sister with worried eyes. But Lisa, Maria said gently, do you love him? Does he make you happy in your heart? Lisa laughed loudly. Love, she said, waving her hand dismissively. Love does not pay the bills, Maria. Love does not buy beautiful things. Richard gives me everything I want. That is enough. Lisa and Richard got married in the most expensive wedding the town had ever seen. There were 300 guests. The wedding dress cost more than a car. There were flowers everywhere, a live band, and food from the finest chefs. Lisa felt like a queen. She smiled proudly as everyone took pictures. This was a moment of triumph. After the wedding, Lisa moved into Richard's enormous mansion. It had marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and a swimming pool. Lisa had 5 walk-in closets filled with designer clothes. She had shelves full of expensive shoes and handbags. She had jewelry boxes overflowing with diamonds, rubies, and emeralds. Every day, Lisa would wake up in her king-size bed with silk sheets and think, I made it. I finally made it. For the first year, Lisa enjoyed her wealthy life. She went shopping whenever she wanted. She hired people to cook, clean, and do everything for her. She attended fancy parties and charity events. Other women looked at her with envy. Lisa posted pictures on social media, showing off her luxury lifestyle. She wanted everyone to see how successful she was. But slowly, very slowly, Lisa began to notice strange things about her new life. Richard was always busy with work. He traveled constantly for business. Sometimes he would be gone for 2 or 3 weeks. When he was home, he spent most of his time on phone calls in his office. He rarely talked to Lisa about real things. He never asked about her feelings or her dreams. Their conversations were always short and shallow. At fancy dinner parties, Lisa would stand next to Richard, wearing her expensive dresses and fake smile. But she felt invisible. Richard would talk to his business partners for hours, completely ignoring her. Sometimes he would introduce her by saying, "This is my wife, Lisa. Isn't she beautiful?" as if her only value was her pretty face. Lisa began to feel like a decoration, like another expensive item Richard owned, like his cars or his watches. 80 nights, in their huge mansion, Lisa would lie in bed feeling strangely empty. The house was so big and quiet. The silk sheets were cold. Richard would fall asleep quickly after a long day of work, sometimes without even saying goodnight. Lisa would stare at the ceiling, listening to the echo of her own breathing in the enormous bedroom. For the first time in her life, Lisa felt lonely. Truly, deeply lonely. One Sunday, Lisa decided to visit her sister Maria. She drove her expensive car to Maria's small house. When she knocked on the door, she heard laughter inside. Maria opened the door with a bright smile, flower on her cheek. "Lisa, what a wonderful surprise. Come in, come in." Inside the small house, it was warm and cozy. David was playing guitar in the living room. The smell of fresh baked bread filled the air. Maria and David had just adopted a small puppy, and it was running around playfully. Everything was simple, but everything felt alive. Sit down, Maria said happily. "I just made tea. And I baked your favorite cookies." Lisa sat on their old couch. She looked around the small, crowded room. There were books everywhere, family photos on the walls, and flowers from the garden in a simple vase. It was nothing fancy. But something about this place made Lisa's chest feel tight. David finished his song and smiled at Lisa. "It's good to see you, Lisa," he said warmly. Then he turned to Maria and said softly, "My love, these cookies are delicious. You are amazing." He kissed Maria's hand gently. Maria blushed and laughed. "Oh, stop it," she said, but her eyes sparkled with happiness. Lisa watched them. She watched how David looked at Maria like she was the most precious thing in the world. She watched how Maria touched David's shoulder as she walked by. She watched how they communicated with just their eyes, sharing a secret language of love. And for the first time, Lisa felt something sharp and painful in her heart. Was it envy? "How is married life, Lisa?" Maria asked, pouring tea. "You must be so happy in that big, beautiful mansion." Lisa opened her mouth to brag about her wealth. But the words got stuck in her throat. She thought about her cold, empty bedroom. She thought about eating dinner alone while Richard worked in his office. She thought about how Richard had forgotten their anniversary last month. She forced a smile. "Oh, yes," she lied. "Everything is perfect." But Maria, who knew her sister so well, saw something sad in Lisa's eyes. "Lisa, Maria said gently, taking her hand. Are you truly happy? Truly. Lisa pulled her hand away quickly. Of course I am, she said sharply. I have everything. I have money, a mansion, jewelry, cars. I have everything I ever wanted. But as Lisa drove back to her mansion that evening in her expensive car, tears began to roll down her cheeks. She did not understand why she was crying. She had everything, didn't she? She had won, hadn't she? So why did her chest feel so heavy? Why did Maria's small, simple house feel warmer than her own mansion? 3 more years passed. Lisa's life became darker and darker. Richard grew more distant. He stopped pretending to care about her at all. He would come home late, sometimes smelling like perfume that was not Lisa's. When Lisa asked him questions, he would snap at her. Stop bothering me, Lisa. I work hard to pay for your expensive lifestyle. Just be grateful and leave me alone. Lisa discovered that Richard had secrets. He was not the perfect man everyone thought he was. He had gambling problems. He lost money in bad business deals. He was rude to the people who worked for him. Worst of all, Lisa heard rumors that Richard was seeing other women when he traveled for business. When Lisa confronted him, Richard laughed coldly. What did you expect? He said cruelly. You married me for my money. I married you for your pretty face. We both got what we wanted. Don't pretend this was ever about love. Those words cut Lisa's heart like a knife. She realized the horrible truth. She was trapped. She had married a man she did not love, who did not love her. She was living in a golden cage. She had everything money could buy, but she had nothing that truly mattered. Lisa stopped going to parties. She stopped posting pictures on social media. She spent her days wandering through the empty rooms of her mansion, feeling like a ghost. The designer clothes in her closet brought her no joy. The jewelry felt heavy and cold on her skin. She would look at herself in the mirror and barely recognize the sad woman staring back at her. One day, Lisa received terrible news. Her father was very sick. He was in the hospital. Lisa rushed to see him, her heart breaking with fear. When she arrived, she found Maria already there, holding their father's hand. Maria had been there for 3 days straight, sleeping in a chair, never leaving his side. David brought food and comforted Maria even though he was exhausted from work. Lisa's mother hugged her tightly. Where have you been, my daughter? She asked with tears in her eyes. I called you many times. I left messages. Lisa felt ashamed. She had been so wrapped up in her own misery that she had ignored her phone. I'm sorry, Mama, Lisa whispered. I'm so sorry. Lisa's father opened his tired eyes. He saw both his daughters and smiled weakly. My girls, he said in a soft voice. My beautiful girls. Come here. Maria and Lisa both held their father's hands, crying. Their father looked at Lisa with sad, knowing eyes. Lisa, he said softly, are you happy, my child? Tell me the truth. Lisa tried to say yes. She tried to keep lying. But she could not do it anymore. The truth came pouring out like a river breaking through a dam. No, Papa, Lisa sobbed. No, I am not happy. I am so lonely. I am so empty inside. Richard does not love me. I do not love him. I have everything and nothing at the same time. I was so foolish, Papa. I was so foolish. Her father squeezed her hand weakly. My dear child, he said gently, I tried to teach you that true wealth is not in your bank account. True wealth is in your heart. It is love, family, peace, and kindness. These things cannot be bought with money. He looked at both sisters. Look at your sister Maria. She has so little money, but she is rich in all the ways that truly matter. She chose love over gold, and look how brightly she shines. Maria hugged Lisa tightly as they both cried. I am here, sister, Maria whispered. I am always here for you. Lisa clung to her sister, realizing what she had been too blind to see before. Maria had always been the richer sister. Not in money, but in everything that truly mattered. Maria had love. Maria had peace. Maria had purpose and joy. Maria had true wealth. Their father recovered slowly, and during those weeks at the hospital, Lisa had time to think deeply about her life. She watched how David took care of Maria, bringing her food, rubbing her tired shoulders, making her smile even in difficult times. She watched how her mother and father, after 40 years of marriage, still held hands and looked at each other with tender love. She realized that she had wasted years chasing fool's gold while the real treasure had been right in front of her all along. Lisa made a difficult decision. She could not stay in her loveless marriage anymore. She filed for divorce. Richard did not even seem to care. He signed the papers without argument. "Take whatever you want," he said coldly. "I'll find another pretty face to replace you." Those words hurt, but Lisa knew they were true. She had been replaceable to him because their relationship had been built on nothing real, nothing solid. Lisa left the mansion. She left the designer clothes and expensive jewelry. She took only what she truly needed. She moved into a small apartment, not much bigger than Maria's house. At first, the quiet felt strange. But slowly, it began to feel peaceful. Lisa started her life over. She got a simple job working at a flower shop. The pay was small, but the work made her happy. She loved arranging beautiful flowers and seeing customers smile. She started volunteering at a community center, helping children learn to read. She reconnected with her family, visiting her parents and sister every week. One day, while working at the flower shop, Lisa saw a familiar face. It was James, the mechanic she had rejected so cruelly 7 years ago. He came in to buy flowers. When he saw Lisa, his eyes widened with surprise. Lisa's heart filled with shame and regret. "James," she said quietly. I need to apologize to you. The way I treated you was cruel and terrible. You are a good man, and I was too blind to see it. I am so sorry." James looked at her for a long moment. Then he smiled gently. "I forgave you a long time ago, Lisa," he said kindly. "I hope you have found happiness." Then Lisa noticed he was wearing a wedding ring. "You're married?" she asked. James's face lit up with joy. "Yes. To a wonderful woman named Sarah. We have 2 beautiful children. I am very blessed." Lisa felt tears in her eyes, but they were not tears of jealousy. They were tears of genuine happiness for him and deep regret for what could have been. "I am so glad you found happiness, James," she said sincerely. "You deserve all the good things in life." After James left, Lisa sat in the back of the flower shop and cried. Not for what she had lost, but for all the years she had wasted, and for the good man she had hurt with her pride and greed. That evening, Lisa went to Maria's house. Maria was cooking dinner while David played with their new baby son. When Maria saw Lisa at the door, she welcomed her with open arms as always. "Come in, sister. Come in. We are just making dinner. Stay and eat with us." Lisa sat at their small kitchen table. She watched Maria and David work together, laughing and talking. She watched their baby boy giggle and clap his tiny hands. The house was full of warmth and love. And Lisa realized that this small, simple home contained more true wealth than her former mansion ever had. "Maria," Lisa said softly, tears running down her face, "I need to tell you something. You were right all along. About everything. I was so foolish. I wasted so many years chasing money and status. I hurt good people. I threw away chances for real happiness. I said that only a rich man could marry me, and I lived to regret those words every single day." Maria sat down and took Lisa's hands. "Sister," she said gently, "the past is gone. What matters is today and tomorrow. You have learned your lesson, and that took courage. You are starting fresh, and that takes strength. I am proud of you." David nodded and added, "Lisa, true wealth is not about how much money you have in the bank. It is about how much love you have in your heart. You are discovering that now. It is never too late to find real happiness." Years passed. Lisa never remarried, but she found something more valuable than a husband or wealth. She found peace within herself. She found purpose in her work and in helping others. She found joy in simple things, a beautiful sunset, a child's laughter, fresh bread baking, her nephew's warm hugs. Lisa and Maria grew closer than they had ever been. Every Sunday, they had dinner together with their parents. Lisa would bring flowers from her shop. Maria would cook delicious food. David would play his guitar. The baby would crawl around, bringing everyone joy.